So we're going to add a quick headline, and we're just going to get the text tool. I just do the type tool, and we're going to click and drag to just create the kind of size we want to create for a headline. And let's just do all capitals, writing. Just going to do writing free as kind of a 2-word quick headline. Let's pick a nice, bold, modern typeface. So I can go to my character panel, which is in my properties panel. I'm going to go down to character. And what's great about the newer versions of InDesign is I have this cool filter now where I can filter out different types of typography. So I can do slab serifs, sans serifs. I know I want to go for a modern typeface, so let's maybe stick with sans serif. I want it to be nice, bold, and thick. So I'm going to go ahead and click on heavyweight and kind of see what comes up. If you know the name of your typeface, which I do, Comrade, you can go ahead and type it in. Just thought this was kind of an interesting typeface. So I'm going to make this bigger. Of course, you can make it bigger this way, or you could do a little keyboard shortcut and do Command Shift right and left brackets to make it bigger or smaller, so you don't have to sit there and mess around with the character panel all the time. So you can hold it and it'll just gradually get bigger. So we're going to make that rather big and bring that down. And what's great about having this cut out is I can do my Command left bracket and I can bring that back in the layering system. Or if I wanted to go to my layers panel, you can also change that around by dragging this just like you would with Adobe Photoshop. So let's say I want to make it a similar color to this duotone that we have. We can double click our typography. Of course, this is where we can change sizes and your kerning and your spacing and leading and all that good stuff. But what we want to do is get the color. So we're going to go up to fill right here in appearance, and we're going to double click our T here for text. And there's some built-in swatches that you can do, and I'll tell you all about how to kind of create your own custom swatches. So I'm going to click over here to color, and originally it was grayscale, but if you see it on just grayscale and you just have black or white, go up to this more options panel and click on the extra options, and we can change it to CMYK if you're doing a print document, and of course you want to do colors in RGB if you're doing a digital document. So we can do CMYK, we could do a custom color here. Let's say I want to get a sample from this photo. I just don't want to try to guess. I want to really get a sample of that photo. So instead of going up here to color, we're going to go over here to our swatches. We're going to go ahead and click on fill. We're going to double click that. And you're going to get this RGB color space view. What we want to do is we want to get this eyedropper tool. We're going to click and hold. This is the trick. You click and hold, and notice how I'm dragging this around and it's taking samples. You can see right there where the samples are being taken. So I'm going to try to find what I think would be a really nice purple color for this particular writing text, and I'm going to release and click OK. So that's kind of the trick. You just don't click it once and click over to it like you would expect. You have to kind of click and then drag, and then it's going to continually find something until you release your mouse. So let's go ahead and stop it right about, let's make it a little bit brighter. Right there, click OK, and it took a sample from that photo, so it looks like the headline is really integrated with the photo. So let's go ahead and duplicate this. I'm going to hold down Option and drag to create a duplicate of that, and we're going to just type in the words free. And let's say I want to align these two different type boxes. So we can selecting this one, holding down Shift, selecting that, and going to my paragraph. I'm in my properties panel, going down to paragraph, and then I'm going to go all the way down until I see my align options, and I'm going to click on align top. So those are going to be now aligned, and I can do the same thing I did before and maybe get a darker or a lighter color, and I can double click my type box, get my eyedropper tool, and let's sample maybe a lighter color. Release. We can zoom out, and we can of course drag this over a little bit to kind of frame this. I wanted to have a little bit more margin. We can always toggle on our W to kind of take a look at our margins if there's anything we want to line up. And the great thing about photography is we can make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do a special trick. So normally in InDesign, I have kind of this corner here, and I can just stretch this to bring it across just like this. but then you start to kind of run out. This is kind of where the photo is cropped. So I need to make the photo a little bit bigger. I'm going to do Command Shift. I have Command Shift held down. I'm going to grab my corner and just make it a little bit bigger and drag it outside. Then I'm going to toggle on W, kind of get rid of all those margins, and I can go ahead and crop the frame. We'll talk about frames here in a little bit. And so I'm just kind of modifying this, making sure people can see the G. And I'm just using my arrow keys to kind of nudge these. I like to give it the layered look a little bit, but I really want to make sure people have readability with this and making sure it's aligned, going down to my align panel and realigning those. So we were able to work with Photoshop, we were able to work with typography. I wanted to show you one more thing with typography. So I just created a simple text box by going here, dragging and typing in text. But what I want to show you is what if the text box right here, what if it was a little bit smaller? What you'll notice is the text disappears. And what you'll notice is if you double click on the bottom right little corner here, right when you have that arrow, just double click it. It'll bring it right back into the bounding box. So anytime in InDesign you make a bounding box smaller than the type will disappear until it's made big enough for that type to reappear. And I know that's kind of a little bit interesting to work with. And whenever you have a really big bounding box like this, anytime you select it, it'll select anywhere in the white area. So let's say we want to reduce this down to the exact size of the typography. We can always go down to the bottom right corner, double click, and now we have kind of it perfectly writing. So if you ever reduce it and you see your text disappear and you know you have text in that text box, you're not going crazy. Just double click the bottom right. It'll kind of pop up for you, and then double click again and you can kind of have it back. Just something a little bit different about InDesign that you don't have to worry about quite as much with Photoshop or Illustrator. So there's our first little quick design we did. Let's go ahead and move on to something really bright and vibrant. Once again, we're going to be utilizing Photoshop to edit a photo and bringing it in to create something like this.